This week will be posted in my blog right there on the site. So hopefully you've had a chance. I see people coming in, so I appreciate it. Man, I think you know, I've said this before, if you've followed me, it is an honor that you will give me some time to deal with this. This week, very important, we're gonna deal with crisis in 12 minutes, right? How do we deal with crisis and what's going on in our country? Wow, what a week. What a week of disappointment and a week of hardship and a week of suffering and crisis. We had another shooting, the 8th shooting in America just in the few weeks that we've had here in 2018 on a high school campus, but really it's been 18 near a campus, 18 shootings. So I'm gonna deal with tonight this historic and unforgettable week that took place down in Florida at Stoneman Douglas High School. And I want to help you with 6 L's on how to deal with crisis. So we're going to break these down. I want you to write them down. Again, if you don't write them down, you just want to listen because you're kind of moving and you're mobile right now, no worries. They'll be posted on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all of it. So it'll be there, okay? Hey, L number 1, let students grieve. This is really important because emotion is very important for a successful process of grieving. You know, sometimes we say things like, well, man, you know, we shouldn't be, you know, emotional or whatever. Let me tell you, there's 2 different things here. There's IQ, and there's EQ. Your intelligence quotient is your process, is your information, the data that you receive, right? The EQ is your emotional quotient. And part of having a strong emotional quotient is being able to deal specifically with the information that you're processing, right? And so if we do not allow students to grieve and go through their emotional, the emotional time clock, then we're missing a very important part of the healing. Number 2, so the first L was let students grieve. The second L is learn to ask questions. Man, okay, not just teenagers, but everybody likes to talk about themselves, right? We all like to talk about ourselves. Some of the most important conversations that you can have with a teenager, especially in crisis, is to ask questions. Man, I've been in funeral homes or visitations or hospitals or going over to a teenager's home and interrupting them in a self-harm situation of maybe an attempted suicide or right on the phone. And I always ask questions. Let me give you two simple questions that you could just bring out in times like this. Question number 1, can I help you with your homework? Right? I mean, how do they turn that down? First of all, everybody needs help with homework, so that, but the question you don't want to ask is like, what can I do for you? Because really that's difficult for some people, right? So we want to get specific. Can I help you with your homework? And then the second question is, hey, what is your favorite memory of your friend? Maybe the one that's passed away, right? You saw the stories on the news and these kids telling stories of their friend and everything that they've been going through, and you can even see the emotion in the story, right? We talked about story last week, but it's so important to go there. So number 3 in dealing with crisis, lend hope. I don't know, this is an anchor, man. There's nothing, I don't believe there's anything more powerful in a crisis than hope. Hope is not just a powerful truth, okay? Hope is a powerful emotion. I mean, think about it this way. Someone's in a crisis, and what happens? We get buried in the moment, don't we? We get buried in the moment. So what you want to do is take students, and specifically we're talking about this setting, take students on a ride. Set up an appointment later in the week, right? Tell them, hey, what are you doing Tuesday? Get them thinking outside of what's really going on in the moment, right? Hope is powerful. So lend hope. So number 1, let them grieve. Number 2, learn to ask questions. Number 3, um, lend hope. And then look for the signs. I want to talk about this one, and I really want you to listen. Signs could be pre-event or post-event. So I want to give you some of these, and these are the things we need to look for in students' lives, in everyone's life, but we're talking about student ministry, right? So I want you to think about drug addiction, right? I want you to think about family disengagement and a fascination with weapons, isolation, and pulling away and withdrawal, right? Those kind of things. Bullying, students who are bullied, that can be a precursor or a sign to acting out. Violence and anger, and watching all of this on social media. You know, the way I like to say it is, see something, say something to someone. See something, say something to someone, right? And then number five, this is controversial, but I'm going to bring it up because I've gone through it. Many of you know my story. I lost my wife 2 years ago to cancer, and my 3 kids and I are going through that right now. But laughter, number 5, the 5 L's, laughter. In time, laughter is an important emotion. Joy is a healer. You know, I didn't want to laugh in the moment, but maybe you've been in settings like that. And sometimes just when somebody, you know, takes you to a funny memory of a friend, or they take you to a moment in your relationship with them, you crack a smile, right? And that emotion, it just opens up your heart. I think we have in America, I think we have a play deprivation, a laughter deprivation. Everybody's so serious today. And I'm telling you, we have got to get back to play and recreation and wellness, and how important that is to healing crisis and these kind of things. And then the last one, number 6, is listen. Again, this is probably a pre and post event thing that you can do with teenagers. Listen to them. We got to get away from screens, right? I know we're on a screen here, but hopefully this is redeeming the screen in this moment right here, and it's more intentional and purposeful. We got to get away from screens and go FaceTime, like FaceTime, right? Hello, FaceTime. Can I see you there, right? Get up in each other's grills and talk to each other and communicate to each other, right? Instead of gaming and doing all this. I mean, really. Let me go over those 6 L's again. Number 1, let students grieve. Number 2, learn to ask questions. Number 3, lend hope. The power of hope. We break these down, and you'll see them coming on the blog too. Number 4, look for the signs. Pre-event, post-event signs. Number 5, laughter. In time, the timing of laughter in its ability to bring healing. And then number 6, the 6 L in dealing with crisis is listen. Just listen. It's even awkward to take moments and just listen, right? And look at each other in the face. Well, hopefully these things will help you. And again, practically, I'm going to break them down. They'll be up on the blog, shortly. By Tuesday, I'll be blogging all of these and breaking them down a little bit practically, because we can only cover so much in 12 minutes, right? But I want to give you a resource. I gave you a resource last week. I'm going to give you 2 resources this week. One of them is a TED.com talk, TED.com talk by Stuart Brown on play deprivation. And I think a lot of what we're going through in America today is because we are taking everything so serious. We have no time to relax, right? I mean, when I look at the patterns of what's going on in our schools, I ask myself, and I have the last few days, I've asked myself, where's the laughter? How could laughter and play and wellness change all of these shooting situations, right? So TED.com, Stuart Brown, play deprivation, one of the great TED Talks that I've watched. The second resource I want to give you If Job Had Twitter. Many of you know this is the book that I just wrote, dealing with Job, the story of Job in the Old Testament, dealing with our loss, my family's loss of my wife Jane. If you can see it right there, hashtag if Job had Twitter. What would Job say to millennials, right? Here's what I do. I was in Houston this weekend, and people, I brought the message. People bought the book for somebody else. I was in Portland, Oregon, Nebraska, Hastings, Nebraska, 2 weeks ago, and a woman bought 10 books, and she said, I'm going to keep one, but I have 9 friends who need this book. I announced, I think you saw this maybe back in the fall, and then I have a new announcement here too, but Sutherland Springs, when the shooting happened at the Baptist Church in Sutherland Springs, Texas, we sent several of you. I put it out there and called for it. I think we only had 4 people buy the book, but I sent another box of books along with those 4 to Sutherland Springs Church, to the pastor, and sent him a note and said, please give these to the families. Well, I was in Houston this weekend and was able to be connected to the youth pastor, to the district youth director in Texas, to the youth pastor whose church is just a mile or so away from Stoneman Douglas. And so I called him up and I talked to him and prayed with him and sent him some resources through Reggie Dabbs and Eric Samuel Tim, who happened to be on vacation in the area. But anyway, I told him that on Monday, tonight, Sunday night, I would be sending him books for the families. And so here's what I want to ask you to do. I'm going to send the books anyway. I'm not trying to raise the money for the books. What I'm trying to ask you to do, if you're interested, to buy a book and send a book. Okay? We deal with the specific issues that we deal with in here for a reason. Okay? The issues that we deal with here are why is there evil? If God is so good, right? If God is so good, then why did that happen? Where was God when? I deal with it in here, right? You'd be surprised to know some of the answers. So anyway, if you want to, you can go to Amazon.com and you can buy the book. And then in the address, send it to somebody that needs it. Please do that. Like I said, I've sent them to Sutherland Springs and I'm sending them down to Florida. But if you have a friend that's going through a difficulty and a crisis right now, they need to read this, okay? They need to read this. So thank you again. Man, you honor me. You honor me with your attendance here and checking in. God bless you. Have an awesome week. And next week, we're going to deal with campus access. Next week, Sunday, Youthology Live Campus Access. God bless you, and thank you very much.